Due to the disturbing nature of this content, we caution parents of small children and first years. Vampires are undead, legendary beings who roam the world at night searching for people whose blood they feed upon. Most people associate vampires with Count Dracula, the blood-sucking subject of Bram Stoker's epic novel, Dracula, which was published in 1897. But vampires may not simply be the stuff of nightmarish fiction, and there are those who would contend that vampires do in fact walk among us. While we cannot say for certain whether vampires do exist, we can present the facts and let you decide. Who are they? Where are they? What do they want? Why are they so well funded? But the main characteristic of vampires, or vampires, is that they drink human blood. In general, vampires hunt at night, since sunlight weakens their powers. Some may have the ability to morph into a bat. It seems like some vampires may even prefer to drink the blood of animals in order to keep their identity a secret. A lab is the perfect environment for a vampire to not only keep safe from the light, but also to obtain a steady supply of blood from research animals without raising alarms.
While waiting for one of our bi-weekly midnight meetings, I noticed a paper on Diana's desk from her postdoc lab at UCSF. I think in those days her PI, David Julius, went by his middle name, Nosferatu, the ancient ageless one. The paper was on the molecular basis of infrared sensing by vampire bats. As soon as I touched the first page, I felt this coldness overcome me, as if someone were reaching out to me with icy hands. All of it was too crazy to be a coincidence. Nick Angolia, Diana Batista, David Julius, Nosferatu, vampires. But before I could make it past the abstract, Diana walked in and told me to go harvest more mouse blood for the project I was helping with. Each week, I would leave the blood in the fridge outside her office to clot overnight, and in the morning, it would be gone.
You know, it's weird, but I can't remember ever meeting with Diana when it wasn't dark outside. She told me she's more efficient at night and more powerful? Much more powerful. We're remodeling the lab to make way for a new PI, and the thing she's most excited about are the plans for these new lab beds, so we can sleep here in lab instead of going home.
Vampires have super strength and often have a hypnotic, sensual effect on their victims. They can't see their image in a mirror and cast no shadows. Eyewitness accounts provide inscrutable evidence for the potency of these beings.
So I was in Barker Hall working late one night, and I ran into Nick in the bathroom. So I'm at the urinal, and he was washing his hands, and so I looked over at him, and I could see him washing his hands, but in the mirror, there was nothing. It was just like the tap was running. I think he noticed that I saw something strange because he approached me, and I was just overwhelmed with his speed and strength, and I couldn't escape. So he cornered me, and he stared into my eyes, this piercing stare. It was terrible and beautiful. He whispered something in my ear in a different language. It sounded like some ancient tongue incomprehensible to mortals. It was enthralling and sensual. I don't remember anything after that, but to this day, whenever I see him, I have this inexplicable urge to just present my bare neck to him. I know he's waiting for me.
According to legends, vampires typically drain their victims' blood using their sharp fangs, killing them and turning them into vampires. Therefore, those who are initially victims, or cattle, for vampires then become the monsters themselves. Could it be possible that ageless ones indeed walk among us? Could it be that these scientist vampires have been around for centuries, passing from university to university undetected?
I once saw a picture of Paul Eldridge, who won the 1908 Nobel in Physiology and Medicine for his work in immunity. I couldn't believe my eyes. They had to be the same person. David's unfettered access to blood samples, his monogram seal on all departmental communique. It was just too coincidental.
David is passionate about blood, specifically the NK cells in the blood, but I haven't met a PI who loves their work so much they salivate during lab meeting. It's a myth, but it's a good myth, and a believable one.
We tried to interview Diana, Nick, and David to investigate whether there is any truth to their vampiric origins. Unfortunately, Rose Hill, who attempted to conduct these interviews, hasn't been seen since due to an elevator malfunction in LSA. This recording was recovered from her phone, which was found in Strawberry Creek.
How old are you?
482.
So, how old are you? Really?
456.
I'm really small and can be killed.
Could there really be vampires in MCB? If so, why have they persisted undetected for so many years in the scientific community? Some believe that the government is using them as an immortal source of research and may in fact help them attain new identities instead of new labs.
The NIH has a dirty little secret. Vampires. Vampires are being used everywhere in immunology, neuroscience, cell biology, in exchange for their research, which extends human lifespan and ensures a steady supply of healthy humans for their bloodfests. The NIH provides security and assurance that the master vampire will be protected, maximizing their powers. They don't want us to know about this, but 40% of new grants are awarded to vampires or their thralls. There's definitely a bias in Tier 1 research institute towards vampire-conducted research. One could argue that every major discovery in the 20th, 21st century, human genome, CRISPR, you name it, if you look in there, and I mean really in there, there's a vampire at the top. And his name is Nosferatu. And he's an ancient one. And the NIH serves to ensure, to preserve the purity and persistence of his bloodline.
Could the government really be collaborating with vampires to ensure the persistence of Nosferatu's lineage? Could vampires really be controlling science? Is the evidence really hidden deep in the papers, the grants, the conference photos? Perhaps we've only just scratched the surface of MCB's mysteries.
I don't believe that MCB is controlled by a bunch of vampires conspiring to create an army of immortal undead super soldiers. I'm convinced of it.